Settle in now. Let your body grow still. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on a slow-moving stream, and allow yourself to sink gently into another time, another world, far beyond the hills and oceans, and beyond the stars above, to a place where time begins not with clocks, but with silence, and where stories are not written in books, but carried in wind, stone, and fire. Tonight, we will begin a quiet journey through the myths of ancient Greece, not as battles or thunderclaps, but as slow-moving clouds across the sky of the imagination. And, like all good stories, we begin at the beginning. But this beginning is not like ours. There was no light, no earth, no moon, no stars, no gods, not even darkness. There was only chaos. Chaos. And the first beings in Greek myth, chaos was not evil, or even empty. It was simply the yawning gap, a great nothingness, neither hot nor cold, neither dark nor bright, a swirling, silent potential, from which all else would eventually come. And from chaos, slowly, quietly, emerged the first presences. There was Gaia, the earth, not a planet, but a presence full of power, warmth, and depth, a foundation on which all else would rest. She was not born from anything. She simply became. From chaos also came Tartarus, the shadowy depth beneath all things. Not a place of punishment, not yet, but a great pit, heavy and endless, where weight and silence reigned. Then came Eros, not the later god of desire, but a deeper force. The force that draws things together, that binds, that stirs, that awakens. And then Erebus, the deep darkness, and Nyx, the night, dark, serene, and beautiful. In this quiet early universe, there were no stories yet, just forms beginning to take shape. And from Gaia herself came mountains, oceans, rivers, and the open sky, which she called Uranus. He was the heavens, a great vault of stars, eternal and high above. He became her companion, her mirror, and together they would make the first children. The first children, the Titans Gaia and Uranus, earth and sky joined, and from them came many beings, but the most important were the Titans. The Titans were not cruel, nor were they kind. They were immense, timeless, more force than form. They embodied the great principles of nature and time. There were 12 original Titans, but in this quiet moment, we will name only a few. There was Oceanus, the endless river encircling the world, and Hyperion, the one who would later father the sun, moon, and dawn. There was Iapetus, the Titan of mortality, and Themis, who represented order and law, though no humans yet existed to follow them. And there was Cronus, the youngest, clever, ambitious, still and quiet, but always watching. From Gaia and Uranus also came stranger beings, the Cyclopes, strong and skilled, with a single eye, and the Hecaton Shires, with 100 arms and 50 heads, creatures of storm and violence. Uranus looked upon these children with dread. He did not like what he had created, and so, in secret, he began to hide them, pushing them back into Gaia, imprisoning them within her vast form. Gaia groaned in pain, not from wounds, but from betrayal, from silence, from being made to carry what was meant to be free. She begged her children to help her, but only one dared answer her. Cronus. He took from Gaia a great sickle, sharp, curved like the crescent moon, and when Uranus descended once more to cover the earth, Cronus struck. With the blade, he severed his father's power. From Uranus's blood came strange new beings, the Furies, who would one day haunt the guilty, the giants, who would challenge the gods. And from the sea where Uranus's blood fell, there rose something unexpected, a goddess, full-grown and perfect, Aphrodite, born of sea foam and sky, floating on a shell, eyes closed. Unaware of the war she would one day start. But we are not there yet. Cronus had defeated Uranus. He was now the king of the cosmos, the great ruler. He sat on a throne, carved from mountain and mist, and for a time, things were calm. The prophecy of the child Cronus took for his queen one of his sisters, Rhea, and from their union came new gods, Hestia, the gentle flame, Demeter, the earth's bounty, Hera, regal and proud, Hades, dark and reserved, Poseidon, fierce like a wave. But Cronus remembered the fate of his father. He had learned the lesson. A son can rise, a son can betray, a son can take the throne. And so each time Rhea gave birth, Cronus took the child, swallowed them, whole, alive, into his stomach, not to destroy them, but to hide them where they could not rise, one after another, until Rhea had had enough. When her sixth child was born, a boy, she did not show him to Cronus. Instead, she wrapped the stone in cloth and handed it to her husband. He swallowed the bundle, not knowing, not caring. The real child was taken far away to a quiet cave on the island of Crete, hidden among trees and guarded by nymphs and spirits. The child's name was Zeus. Zeus grows in secret. While Cronus ruled the cosmos from his throne of stone, Zeus grew. In secret, far from the eyes of Titans. He was fed by the divine goat Amalthea, whose milk made him strong. The bees of Mount Ida brought him honey, and the Curetes' armored dancers clashed their spears and shields to drown out the child's cries. Time passed. Zeus grew tall, proud and quiet, his mind filled with stories of his lost siblings, of the world beyond the cave, and of a father who feared him. When he was ready, he left Crete, and returned not with rage, but with purpose. The revolt of the Olympian Zeus joined with the ancient goddess Metis, whose name means wisdom. She gave him a plan, and a potion. Zeus returned to Cronus, disguised, and gave him the potion hidden in wine. It worked. Cronus heaved, and from his mouth came the gods he had swallowed, whole, alive, and now free: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. Together they stood beside Zeus, young, uncertain, but determined. The Titans would not step aside quietly. Cronus called his brothers and sisters. A war began, one that would last 10 years. The Titanomachy, the sky darkened, the sea churned, mountains cracked. This was the Titanomachy, the war between the old gods and the new. The Titans, massive and ancient, fought with boulders, fire, and fury. But the Olympians had cleverness, and allies. Zeus freed the Cyclopes, long imprisoned. In thanks, they gave him gifts. To Zeus, the thunderbolt; to Poseidon, the trident; to Hades, the helmet of invisibility. The tide began to turn, lightning crashing, oceans roaring, and darkness swallowing the battlefield. Zeus struck Cronus down. The Titans fell. Some scattered, some captured, and the worst were banished to Tartarus, bound in chains of unbreakable bronze, guarded by giants with eyes that never closed. A new age begins with the war ended, the sky cleared. The earth grew warm again. The rivers remembered their paths. The Olympian gods climbed Mount Olympus, a peak high above the world. Shrouded in mist and cloud. There, they built a palace of shining marble, a great hall with golden thrones. From here they would watch over mortals and each other. Zeus, having led the fight, was crowned king. But he did not rule alone. The world was divided. Zeus took the sky. Poseidon claimed the sea. Hades chose the underworld, not as punishment, but as a place of mystery and rest. And so, the world as we know it began to take shape, not with perfect harmony, but with rhythm, a heartbeat between gods and mortals, storm and sun, love and conflict. And in the clouds above, the gods of Olympus began their long, slow watch. But their stories were just beginning. Close your eyes again. Let the story unfold slowly, like a scroll unrolling in a breeze. We return now to a world in its early dawn, still trembling from war, still echoing with thunder, but beginning at last to settle. The Titans had fallen, and the Olympians, the younger gods, born in secrecy and struggle, had claimed the heavens. But peace, like marble, must be carved from chaos, and even gods must learn how to rule. After the war, Zeus stood upon Mount Olympus. Around him, the world lay bruised but breathing. The deep pits of Tartarus still glowed from battle. The oceans, disturbed by storms, slowly smoothed into waves again. And the sky, which had once crackled with fire, now shone with new stars, silent witnesses to what had been. But the war, known as the Titanomachy, had left its mark. Many of the elder Titans had been cast down, chained far below in the abyss. Beyond the reach of time, they were guarded now by beings with 1,000 hands and sleepless eyes. And though their names faded from memory, their presence remained in fault lines, in earthquakes, in the heavy silence beneath the earth. Yet not all Titans were imprisoned. Some had chosen neutrality, or had quietly stepped aside. They would be allowed to remain, to live among the edges of the new world as fading echoes of an older order. Among them was Oceanus, the great river that encircled the world, who did not raise arms against the Olympians, and Mnemosyne, the memory goddess who would go on to bear the Muses, and Themis, goddess of divine law, who would sit beside Zeus as his advisor, a bridge between old and new. The division of the cosmos, with victory behind them, the gods turned their gaze to the world ahead. Who would rule? And how? There were no elections in Olympus, no campaigns. Only the quiet understanding that power had to be shared, or it would be fought for once more. And so, the three most powerful brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, came together. To divide the cosmos, they cast lots, as was the custom, not to argue, but to let fate decide. That Zeus drew the sky. He would become the king of the heavens, the wielder of lightning, the voice of thunder, the protector of justice and order. Poseidon drew the sea. He would command the oceans, rivers, and waves, master of storms, tides, and the great beasts of the deep. Hades drew the underworld. He would reign over the realm of the dead, a place not of fire, but of shadow and stillness, where souls journeyed after life to find their place among the forgotten. And the earth was left to all, to be shared, argued over, loved, and wounded. So it was agreed. The world would now move under their guidance, each brother tending to their dominion. Though not always in peace, Mount Olympus with the cosmos divided, the gods turned their attention to Olympus, the great mountain that touched the sky. Here, in the clouds and snow, the Olympians built their home, not of brick or wood, but of radiant stone and gleaming gold. A palace that shimmered with divine light, visible only to those the gods allowed. At its center was the Hall of the 12, a circular chamber where the main gods would gather, each on a throne shaped to their nature. Zeus sat upon the tallest seat, thunderbolt in hand, crowned with olive and oak. Beside him sat Hera, his wife and sister, queen of the gods, guardian of marriage and birth. Around them were thrones for Poseidon, Demeter, Apollo, Artemis, Athena, Ares, Aphrodite, Hephaestus, Hermes, and either Dionysus or Hestia, for even among immortals, chairs can be scarce. There were feasts in Olympus and music that never ended. Ambrosia and nectar flowed like wine. And yet, Even in this divine paradise, whispers and rivalries flickered like candle flames. But for now, let us not dwell on quarrels. Let us walk slowly through this divine household and listen as their stories begin. Zeus, king of the god Zeus, now crowned, did not rule with iron, nor did he rule with gentleness. He ruled like the sky itself at times. He was calm and clear, bringing light and warmth. At others, he was sudden and severe, lightning flashing across a darkened sky. Carried a thunderbolt, not just a weapon, but a symbol, a reminder of his authority. And of what had been one dot, he was not omniscient, but he watched the world from Olympus, with eyes like distant storm clouds. Ever shifting, but always watching. Zeus took many forms. An eagle, a cloud, a shower of gold. He walked among mortals, more often than they knew, sometimes as protector, sometimes as troublemaker. He was a god of law and justice, but also of passion and contradiction. His voice was in the thunder, his moods in the wind's and though many would challenge his rule, none could truly unseat him. Not yet. Hera, the queen beside Zeus, sat Hera, stern-eyed and regal, wearing a crown of stars. She was goddess of marriage, of women, of family. And, though she is often remembered for her jealousies, she was more than that. She was order, pride, dignity, the one who held Olympus to account. Zeus wronged her many times. His love, as wide as the sky, was rarely faithful. But Hera remained, not out of submission, but because Olympus needed her. Temples across Greece rose in her honor. Weddings invoked her name. And among the gods, even Ares, the wild god of war, deferred to her strength. She was a mother, a queen, a storm behind a calm face. And while her revenge was often cold and patient, her presence gave Olympus its structure. Its spine, Poseidon, lord of the sea far below the clouds. In the groaning deep of the oceans, Poseidon ruled. His palace was beneath the waves, columns of coral, gates of pearl. Horses made of foam galloped at his side, and his trident stirred the sea into song or into storm. Poseidon was not as regal as Zeus, nor as cunning as Hades, but he was powerful and proud. He could flood a city in anger, or bless a port with calm tides and good fishing. He claimed cities, Athens among them, but was not always chosen. Still, sailors whispered his name before every voyage. Fishermen poured wine into the sea before casting their nets, and islanders built temples along cliffs, hoping to win the sea god's favor. He was the wild heart of water, beautiful, unpredictable, and strong. Hades, the underworld, and beneath them all, in a realm beyond day and night, Hades ruled in silence. He did not sit on Olympus. He did not feast or quarrel with the others. But his presence was no less vital. His kingdom was not hell, not a place of burning punishment, but a realm of shadows, reflection, and memory. Souls came to him after death, escorted by Hermes, the messenger god, and judged by ancient kings. Some drank from the river Lethe and forgot all they were. Some walked the fields of asphodel, their dreams fading like mist. And a few, the rare and heroic, reached the Elysian fields, where soft breezes never ended, and the soul could rest. Hades was not cruel. He was fair, but he was stern and slow to trust. He guarded the boundary between life and death, as Zeus guarded the sky. And though mortals feared his name, they honored it too, knowing that all paths in time led to him, the return of balance, with Zeus in the sky, Poseidon in the sea, and Hades in the underworld. The world found its rhythm once more. The sun rose and set. The moon grew full and waned. The seasons turned. And on Mount Olympus, the younger gods, children of the Titans, children of Zeus, began to take their place in the great hall. Athena, goddess of wisdom. Apollo, god of the sun and music. Artemis, goddess of the hunt. Hermes, the messenger. Ares, of war. Hephaestus, of fire and craft. Aphrodite, of love and beauty. Dionysus, of wine and mystery. Each would bring their own stories, their own loves, conflicts, and quests. But for now, the mountain is quiet, the storm has passed, and in the soft stillness of the dawn, Olympus stands tall, its halls filled with golden light, its gods watching over the world below. The old world is gone. A new world has begun. Now, let your breath slow again. Let your body soften, sinking just a little deeper into rest. We are on Mount Olympus now, far above the mortal world, above fields and forests, above war and time. Here, in these shining halls above the clouds, the gods dwell in splendor, each with their own throne, their own domain, their own story. Let us walk slowly through this sacred place. There is no hurry. We will visit each god in turn, letting the myths unfold like petals in the morning light. Zeus, king of the sky, we begin, of course, with Zeus. He sits upon the highest throne, cloaked in deep blue, lightning in hand, his beard like a cloud touched with sunlight. The air around him hums gently, as if the wind itself pauses to listen. He is the king of gods, but not a tyrant. His rule is shaped by judgment, and sometimes by whim. Zeus is the keeper of oaths, protector of guests and hosts, an upholder of law. When he chooses to be, he watches everything, the birth of kings, the storms at sea, the secrets whispered in palaces. But for all his power, Zeus is not all-knowing. He is impulsive, often in love, and often in trouble. He has taken many forms: a swan, a bull, a gentle breeze. He has pursued mortals and goddesses alike, and his children are scattered across the myths like seeds in the wind. And yet the world respects him, not because he is perfect, but because he endures, because he carries the thunder and the weight of Olympus. Hera, queen of the gods, beside him, on a throne of gold and ivory, sits Hera. She wears a crown of stars and peacock feathers. Her gaze is steady, her back straight. She does not smile often, but when she does, even gods take notice. Hera is the goddess of marriage, of family, of birth, of bonds. She is often remembered for her jealousy, but it is more precise to say she remembers everything. She sees every betrayal. She marks every slight. She is proud, impossibly proud, but also deeply loyal. Temples in Argos, Samos, and Olympia rose in her name. Women lit fires to her, offered flowers and milk and prayers. For they knew that marriage was not always peace, but strength. Hera's love for Zeus is complicated. His infidelities wound her again and again, and she does not suffer quietly. But Olympus is hers as much as his. She is its heart, its law, its stern, shining queen. Poseidon, lord of the sea, when storms rage on the water, it is Poseidon who stirs them. He is brother to Zeus and Hades, but prefers the open world to Olympus. His beard is seaweed. His eyes are storm gray. He walks barefoot along coral floors, with dolphins and seahorses swimming in his wake. Poseidon rules not only the oceans, but also horses, earthquakes, and tidal forces. He is quick to anger. His trident has shattered islands, broken cliffs, and swallowed ships whole. But he can be generous too. He brings fish to nets, safe harbor to lost sailors, and peace to coastal villages. Poseidon once sought to rule Athens. He struck the ground with his trident and summoned the salt spring. But Athena gave the people an olive tree, a gift of peace and life. They chose her. Still, Poseidon's temples were many. His presence always felt, He is the ocean's roar. And its hush, Hestia, goddess of the hearth in a quiet corner of Olympus. Tending a small flame sits Hestia. She does not quarrel. She does not boast. She does not take lovers or seek vengeance. And yet, she may be the most important of them all. Hestia is the goddess of the hearth, the flame that warms every home, the quiet center of every household. She was the firstborn of Cronus and Rhea, and the first to be swallowed, but also the last to be freed. Her flame is eternal, present in every temple, every offering. When meals are shared, when stories are told, when families gather in peace, it is Hestia who is honored. She gave up her throne in Olympus so that Dionysus could join the 12. But she lost nothing, for she lives in every home, every fire, every moment of calm. She is warmth. She is welcome. She is home. Demeter, the earth's bounty, where wheat grows tall, where grapes ripen in the sun, where children pick apples from low branches. There walks Demeter, goddess of the harvest, of grain, of the turning seasons. Her hair is golden like ripe corn. Her hands carry fruit, and her feet are bare, always touching the soil. Demeter gives life to the land. She teaches mortals to plant, to reap, to store. But her story is not only one of growth, it is also one of grief. For one day, her daughter, Persephone, was taken by Hades, drawn down into the underworld. In her sorrow, Demeter made the earth barren. Crops withered, cold spread. The gods begged her to relent, but she would not, until her daughter was returned. A compromise was made. Persephone would spend part of the year with her mother, and part below with her husband. Thus came the seasons, spring with reunion, autumn with farewell. Demeter teaches us that even the earth weeps, and also that it heals. Ares, the chaos of war, Ares, strides in with clashing armor and wild eyes. He is the god of war, not strategy, but bloodlust, not defense, but destruction. Wherever he walks, the ground trembles. He is handsome, arrogant, often reckless, beloved by no one, except Aphrodite. Even Zeus calls him hateful. Even Athena scorns him. But Ares has his place. He represents the fury of battle, the clash of spears, the pounding of hooves, the cry before the charge. He is the fire that starts the war, not the one that ends it. Yet soldiers call his name. And in every battlefield, he lingers, not because we love him, but because we cannot forget him. Hephaestus, the divine smith in a forge beneath Olympus, amid smoke and glowing coals, Hephaestus hammers. He is the god of fire, of smithing, crafting, building. He walks with a limp. His hands are scarred. He was cast from Olympus as a child, thrown from the heavens by his mother, Hera, or in some tales, by Zeus himself. He landed in the sea, raised by sea nymphs. And when he returned, he brought with him skill no god could match. He made Zeus's thunderbolt, Poseidon's trident, the shield of Achilles, the armor of the gods. He is married to Aphrodite, though she does not love him. Yet he works without bitterness. His forge glows always. And through him the gods are clothed and armed. He is quiet, patient, and utterly essential. Aphrodite, born of foam, and now beauty herself. Aphrodite walks, and flowers bloom behind her. She was born not from womb, but from Siphon, from the waves where Uranus's blood once fell. She rose on a shell, drifted to the shore, and all who saw her forgot to breathe. She is the goddess of love, desire, beauty, but also of jealousy and conflict. She can bring peace with a glance, or chaos with a sigh. She is desired by gods and mortals alike. And though she is wed to Hephaestus, her heart belongs to Ares, to passion, to impulse, to the untamed. She is more than beauty. She is the force that draws hearts together, and sometimes breaks them apart. Artemis, the untouched huntress in the forests, by moonlight, with bow in hand and hounds at her side. Artemis runs. She is goddess of the hunt, of wild places, of the moon. She is protector of maidens, of animals, of untamed nature. She asks for no throne, no crown, only freedom. She is twin sister to Apollo, born on the island of Delos. She helps women in childbirth, yet she never marries. She dances beneath moonlight, alone, but never lonely. Temples rise in her name. Girls offer her flowers and toys. She is a guide to the lost, and a fierce defender of her own. She is moonlight through trees. She is silence in the forest. She is purity and wildness. Apollo, light, music, and prophecy, where Artemis is the moon. Apollo is the sun. Golden-haired and radiant. He carries a lyre and a bow. He is god of music, poetry, prophecy, healing, and the sun itself. He rides across the sky each day, guiding the sun's chariot from east to west. He speaks through oracles, most famously at Delphi, where the Pythia delivers riddled truths. In his name, he is a healer, yet brings plague, a poet, yet sharp-tongued, a lover, yet often rejected. He is complex, beautiful, and endlessly sung. Hermes the messenger, with winged sandals and a crooked smile. Hermes arrives. He is the messenger god of travelers, thieves, merchants, and wit. He carries a staff with two serpents and speaks in riddles and charm. He moves between worlds, sky, earth, and underworld. He guides souls to Hades. He delivers dreams. He inspires cleverness and invention. He was born in the morning, and by nightfall he had stolen Apollo's cattle and composed a song about it. Apollo laughed and forgave him. Hermes is the wind on your back, the clever thought in your mind, the smile in a stranger's eyes. Dionysus, god of wine and mystery. And lastly, there is Dionysus. He comes with ivy in his hair, a cup in his hand, and a wildness in his step. He is god of wine, of revelry, of madness, of theater. He was born of fire. His mother, a mortal, burned by Zeus's divine form. His soul saved, sewn into Zeus's thigh, and born again. He brings joy, but also frenzy. He liberates, but can destroy. He is worshipped in ecstatic rites, in torchlit processions, in laughter, and in tears. He is the edge between control and surrender, the moment before the mask falls away. A family of contradictions. The Olympians are not perfect. They argue, fight, deceive. They love deeply, and often messily, but they are reflections of nature, of humanity, of dreams, fears, and hopes. And here, in their mountain hall, they watch the world below, not always guiding, but always present. These are the gods on Olympus, a strange, shimmering family, ancient, immortal, and always unfolding. Part 4. The younger Olympians and their myth settle in once more. The fire is low. The sky above Olympus is brushed with twilight. We are in no rush. Let each story come slowly, like the turning of the stars. Tonight, we explore the myths of the younger Olympians, the sons and daughters of Zeus and the Titans, the bold, the bright, the tragic, and the strange. Let us begin, not with thunder, but with the soft rustle of an olive branch. Athena, the goddess born from a head one. Zeus was troubled. He walked the halls of Olympus, frowning, a sharp pain growing behind his eyes. He called for Hephaestus, the smith, who asked no questions. He took his hammer, raised it high, and split Zeus's forehead, not in blood, but in brilliance. From the crack stepped Athena, fully grown, clad in armor. eyes calm and wide like storm-lit skies. She was born of wisdom and thought, goddess of reason, of battle strategy, of weaving, and of cities. Athena carried a shield marked with the face of a Gorgon. She wore a helmet and bore no husband, no lover. She needed no one to define her. In Athens, her olive tree stood as a gift to mortals, a symbol of peace, of life, of patience. Athena was not cruel, but neither was she tender. She helped heroes, Odysseus, Perseus, and others, when cleverness was needed more than strength. She spoke rarely, but with clarity. And when she did, even Zeus listened. Apollo, the light that sees everything. Apollo was born beneath a swaying palm on the sacred island of Delos, alongside his sister Artemis. His birth was heralded by swans, and as soon as he drank from the breast of his mother, Leto, he shone like the morning sun. Apollo was the god of light, but also of music, of medicine, of prophecy. He carried a silver bow and a golden lyre. His voice could heal. His song could tame beasts. His arrows could bring both plague and mercy. His temple at Delphi was the center of the ancient world. There, a woman called the Pythia sat above a chasm, inhaling vapors and speaking visions in his name. Mortals came from every land, seeking answers to questions they could barely name. Apollo loved many. Daphne, who turned into a laurel tree to escape his touch. Hyacinthus, a beautiful youth struck by accident and turned to flowers. Coronis, who bore his child and was punished for her unfaithfulness. He was radiant. But his love stories were often tinged with sorrow. Apollo is the sun, shining, guiding, burning when too close. Artemis, the moon that hunts where Apollo brought daylight. Artemis ruled the night. She was born moments before her brother and helped deliver him, making her the goddess of childbirth, even as she vowed never to bear children of her own. Artem. Ice loved the forest. She ran with deer, hunted with silver arrows, and protected maidens from harm. Her companions were nymphs and animals, and she required chastity, loyalty, and freedom. She punished those who saw her bathing, like Actaeon, a hunter who stumbled upon her by chance. He was turned into a stag and torn apart by his own hounds. She was fierce. She was fair. She was free. In the wild groves of Greece, girls danced in her honor under full moons, offering honey, berries, and silent prayers. Artemis is not just the hunt. She is dignity. She is the night unbroken by fear. Dionysus, twice born and forever wild of all the gods. Dionysus is the strangest. He does not walk. He dances. He does not speak. He sings. He was born from a mortal mother, Semele, who asked to see Zeus in his true form. It blinded her, burned her, left her unborn child adrift. Zeus sewed the child into his thigh, and months later, Dionysus emerged, twice born, radiant, and wild. He wandered the world before Olympus would claim him. Through India, through forests, through mountain villages, wherever he went, vines grew, wine flowed, music played. He was followed by Maenads, wild women who danced in ecstasy, and by satyrs, laughing creatures with goat hooves in constant thirst. His cults were secret, his rites ecstatic. To worship him was to lose yourself, to drink, to dance, to dissolve. Yet Dionysus also brought comfort. He eased pain. He taught mortals that madness could be release. He returned his dead mother from the underworld. He softened the hearts of kings. And in the theater, he was god of transformation, masks, roles, and the gentle unraveling of the self. He is joy. He is chaos. He is the mystery that follows laughter. Persephone, the flower and the shadow, though not always counted among the 12. Persephone holds a special place in the myths. She was the daughter of Demeter, and her days were spent among flowers. But the ground split one day, and from it rose Hades, god of the underworld. He took her, not in malice, but in longing. And in silence she vanished. Demeter searched the world, crying, fasting, cursing the soil. Zeus at last intervened. A deal was struck. Persephone would return to the world. But because she had eaten 6 seeds of a pomegranate, she could not stay forever. And so, each year, she rises in spring, bringing blossoms and warmth. And each autumn she descends, taking color and life with her. She is queen of the dead, yet always a daughter of life. She is not a victim, but a bridge. Between, above and below, joy and mourning, beginning and ending. The trials of Ares, as we've seen, is not beloved on Olympus. Yet his myths show us something deeper. He once stood trial for murder, the first trial in myth. On the hill in Athens they would be named Areopagus, the hill of Ares. There he was acquitted, and so the idea of legal defense was born. In another tale, he was caught in a trap, a net crafted by Hephaestus to catch him in the arms of Aphrodite. All of Olympus laughed, but Ares bore it with a clenched jaw. His most devoted children were Phobos and Deimos, fear and terror. They rode with him into battle, sowing panic and ruin, but Ares also protected. When his daughter Harmonia married, he gave his blessing. A rare, tender moment. Ares is not strategy. He is instinct. He is rage, and sometimes the raw courage behind it. Hephaestus, in the forging of Olympus. Hephaestus was not welcomed into the world. Cast from Olympus as an infant, he landed. In the sea, where sea nymphs raised him, he grew strong in the arms. Even as he limped on land, he built his own throne of gold, self-moving, clever. And when Hera sat on it, she found she could not rise. She begged him to return. And he did, on a donkey, smiling, carrying fire in his hands. He made wonders. Jewelry, thrones, automatons, weapons. He made Pandora, the first woman, and they, box that would change the world. He loved deeply, though Aphrodite strayed. He forged through heartbreak, and created beauty from rejection. Hephaestus teaches us, even the cast out can shape the world. Athena and Arachne. Athena, proud and precise, once watched a mortal woman named Arachne. Arachne was a weaver, skilled, beyond reason. She claimed her art was greater than the gods. Athena challenged her to a contest. Each wove a tapestry. Athena's showed the triumphs of Olympus. Arachne's showed its scandals, its loves and lies and punishments. It was perfect. Too perfect. Athena, both furious and grieving, tore the tapestry and touched Arachne's forehead. The girl shrank. Her hands thinned. Her fingers grew long and nimble. She became the first spider, and from her all weavers descended. Hermes, the trickster Hermes, even as a newborn, was clever. On the day he was born, he crept from his cradle, stole his brother Apollo's cattle, and walked them backward to hide their tracks. When Apollo confronted him, Hermes played a tune on a lyre he had just invented, using the shell of a tortoise. Apollo, astonished, laughed. He forgave the theft, and gave Hermes his staff of heralds. Hermes became messenger of the gods, guide of souls, and god of travelers and invention. He taught mortals the alphabet, and once even stole Zeus's sinews when they were cut from his body. He is the breeze that changes direction, the smile before mischief, the road between roads, closing the circle. These gods, the younger Olympians, are not only beings of myth, they are mirrors. They reflect joy and sorrow, pride and humility, creation and destruction. They quarrel, they love, they lose, they grow. And like the stars above Mount Olympus, they shine not in perfect alignment, but in endless variation. There, Stories are threads, woven again and again, softly like dreams in the loom of sleep. Part 5. A gentle descent into myth and meaning. Let your body rest. You've climbed with us across time, from the shapeless void of chaos, to the war of the Titans, to the gleaming halls of Olympus. We've wandered past sunlit temples, danced in forest shadows, and listened as gods whispered truths in mythic form. Now we begin our slow return. Not abrupt, not final. Just a soft descent, like leaves settling on still water. Tonight, we walk not into more stories, but into what the stories mean. Let us return to the mountain itself, Mount Olympus, more than a mountain to the ancient Greeks. Mount Olympus was a real place, the highest mountain in Greece, rising over 9,500 feet into the sky. Its peaks are often veiled in cloud. Snow blankets it through the winter. Storms brew around it with theatrical flair. But to the ancient mind, it was not just stone and wind. It was the home of the gods, not in the way we picture a house or a palace, but in the way dreams have homes, in the way ideas seem to live somewhere. Olympus was where the gods sat on thrones of gold, where nectar flowed freely, where ambrosia made them deathless, where no sorrow could reach them, only drama. It was a perfect world above the mortal one. No aging, no hunger, no war between gods that ever truly wounded them. To dream of Olympus was to dream of eternity, removed from the dust of the earth. A day in the life of a god. What, you might ask, did the gods do? They did not till soil. They did not write laws or build homes. They had no crops to tend. And yet, their days were full. They quarreled. They schemed. They feasted. They watched the mortal world with intense curiosity. They bet on mortals like gamblers around a fire. They sent dreams. They intervened, sometimes helpfully, often not. Homer tells us that during the Trojan War, the gods took sides like spectators at a game. Aphrodite favored Paris. Athena favored Odysseus. Apollo sent plagues. Zeus tried not very hard to keep peace among them. Olympus echoed with laughter, with music, with the occasional thunderbolt. And while they were deathless, the gods were not immune to pettiness, to jealousy, to passion. They were, in every way, more human than divine. But they lived without consequence, and that made them strange. Gods as archetypes, mirrors of ourselves. The gods are not characters in the modern sense. They don't grow, or learn from mistakes, or seek redemption. But they are archetypes, psychological patterns, older than writing itself. Athena is wisdom without softness. Ares is aggression without thought. Apollo is reason and light. Dionysus is ecstasy and oblivion. Hermes is cunning. Artemis is independence. Demeter is maternal grief. Each god reflects a facet of human life, turned up to full brightness. That's why they endure. They are not lessons. They are expressions. To tell a myth is not to say what should be, but to describe what is. We are capable of strategy, of wrath, of joy, of madness. The gods are those traits, embodied, unbound. And in sleep, when the conscious mind grows quiet, they speak more clearly than ever. The loom of the fates among the gods, three ancient figures sit apart, older than Olympus, older than time, the Moirai, the fates. They are not feared because they are cruel, but because they are indifferent. Clotho spins the thread. Legacies measures it. Atropos cuts. Every mortal has a thread, some long, some brief, all unknotted in the end. Even gods, some whispered, had threads once. Zeus may be king, but he does not unmake fate. It's why even he hesitated when Thetis bore Achilles. He knew the boy's death was inevitable, beautiful and brief. The fates remind us, Power cannot protect us from endings, but in the acceptance of endings. There is a strange peace. Hubris, justice, and the balance of things Greek myth does not have villains in the modern sense. But it has one universal mistake. Hubris, the arrogance of mortals not to challenge the gods, to boast beyond reason, to ignore the sacred laws of hospitality, respect, and restraint. These acts brought down kings. Narcissus loved himself too, much, and faded into reflection. Niobe boasted of her many children, mocked Leto, and lost them all. Prometheus stole fire, and was chained for eternity. But punishment in myth is not always about morality. It is about balance. The Greeks believed in cosmic justice. In a world where even the gods were held in check by Themis, the older order, harmony mattered. Excess, even of good things, invited ruin. To live well was not to conquer, but to be. Measured. And in sleep, where everything is leveled, titles, fears, even pride, this idea becomes especially gentle. Mortals and meaning, and what of morals? What of us, the small, the brief, the dreaming? In the great sweep of myth, mortals stumble, but they also shine. Odysseus suffers, but returns. Orpheus loses, but sings. Psyche doubts, but learns. Heracles sins, but redeems. The gods may be brilliant, but mortals change. They endure. They struggle. And in their striving, they become more than echoes. The gods watch them, and perhaps, in quiet moments, envied them. To be mortal is to burn brightly, if only for a moment. Why Greek myths still live so? Why do these stories still matter? They were written thousands of years ago, on papyrus and stone, told by firelight, passed from voice to voice, and yet we still tell them. We rename them, retell them, reframe them in new worlds, because they are never just about gods. They are about us, about our flaws, our loves, our longings. They give shape to the shapeless parts of being human, to guilt, to joy, to grief, to awe. And in a world that moves so quickly, these slow, enduring stories are anchors. They remind us, you are not the first to feel sorrow. You are not alone in love or fear. And even the gods are confused sometimes, the quiet above the clouds. So now we stand once more at the edge of Olympus. The clouds drift below. The stars come out one by one. Somewhere, Hermes runs a new errand. Artemis walks among silver trees. Zeus leans back in his throne, watching dreams unfold below. The fates hung quietly, measuring something we cannot see. And you have walked beside them, not as a hero, but as a quiet traveler. The myths are not gone. They are simply resting, and so are you. Let them drift through your sleep, not loudly, not brightly. Just as a breeze, a whisper, a story, softly, softly, softly. Part 6. Drifting through echoes. A sleepy epilogue. Settle in now. The stories are finished. The gods have spoken or wandered off. The titans have long since fallen into myth. Even the echoes of battle and prophecy have faded into silence. But time itself doesn't stop when the tale ends. It lingers. It softens. It breathes. So here we stay a while longer, not to tell more history, but to wander through its afterglow. Let this final part be less like a chapter and more like a quiet walk through memory. No more lessons. Number. More events. Just soft reflections. Just myth in moonlight. Myth as a kind of sleep. Have you ever wondered? Why do myths feel like dreams? They follow no strict logic. A woman turns into a tree. A man flies too close to the sun. A talking horse warns of war. A god disguises himself as a swan. These things do not make sense, and yet they feel true in their own way. That is the strange wisdom of myths. They speak to the feeling of reality, not the fact of it. Just like sleep. When we dream, we do not need reasons. Our minds leap from place to place, from grief to flight, from memory to invention. The gods live in that space, not in fact, but in pattern, not in logic, but in longing. To dream of Greek myth is to float through symbolic truths. What does it mean that Demeter mourned Persephone? What does it mean that Odysseus wandered for 10 long years? Perhaps nothing. Perhaps everything. And as you drift, your own thoughts become myth-like too, where the gods go when we forget them. Once long ago, the temples of the gods were filled with firelight. Stone statues loomed over cities. Priests poured libations. Poets sang hymns. Now, the temples are ruins. The fires long extinguished. The names, some remembered, some lost. And yet, they're not gone. Just relocated. The gods do not vanish. They shift. Ares becomes the hunger for conflict. Aphrodite becomes the ache of attraction. Athena becomes strategy behind quiet eyes. Dionysus dances in late-night music. We see them in novels, in movies, in archetypes. In thoughts we don't know how to explain. The gods do not need temples. They need only memory. And memory, especially the kind that flickers before sleep, is where they feel most at home. Forgotten gods, minor spirits, and sleepy corners of the mythic world. You've met the major Olympians, the thunder throwers, the wisdom bringers, the sun and moon, love and war. But Greek mythology is vast. Like a shoreline stretching past the horizon. There are lesser gods, quiet ones, who rarely speak, but still matter. There is Hypnos, god of sleep, gentler than any thunderbolt. He lives in a cave where no sun shines, where poppies bloom, where water trickles soft as breath, and no one raises their voice. There is Thanatos, god of peaceful death, not the end in terror, but the final sigh after a long life. There is Hecate, keeper of crossroads and moonlight, a goddess of shadows and thresholds. She walks with torches, not to frighten, but to guide. There is Nyx, primordial night, so old that even Zeus feared her. She was born before all things, and wraps the world each evening like a blanket. These beings are not loud. They do not shout for worship. They exist like background music, only noticeable when everything else grows quiet. As you lay still, perhaps you sense them. Not watching, just present. Why do we keep looking back? Sometimes we look at ancient stories and ask, why bother? They are old. They are strange. They are full of contradictions. But perhaps that is the point. They are older than our modern worries, stranger than our daily routines. And in their contradictions, they make room for the parts of us we don't always understand. Greek myth doesn't give answers. It holds a mirror, and in that mirror, we see ourselves not perfectly, but poetically. Our strengths, our fears, our chaos. It's no wonder that so many people turn to these myths at night, not just for entertainment, but for comfort. We don't need to believe in them. We only need to hear them. To listen to the music in their words, to drift among their images of golden apples and winged sandals, of quiet altars and shining chariots, of a mountain that touches the sky. They don't ask us to stay awake, only to remember, even dimly, even briefly, and then let them go. A final thought beneath the stars. So now we reach the end. Truly this time, the gods have walked past us. The myths have curled into silence, and only the stars remain. What was once loud is now soft. What was once bright is now silver. You are not in ancient Greece, not in a myth, not even on Mount Olympus. You are here, in your room, on your bed, wrapped in blankets, wrapped in breath. But maybe some part of you still walks among gods. Maybe part of you remembers the glow of ambrosia, the hush of temples, the hush of ancient memory. And maybe that's all that myths were ever meant to do, not explain the world, but sing you to sleep. Asterisk, asterisk. Part 7. A gentle walk on Olympus. Let everything go now. The myths are behind us. The names, the gods, the thrones, the storms, they have fallen silent. What remains is stillness. Let yourself rest in that stillness. Let your mind float without destination. No need to remember who was who. Number. Need to follow any plot. Only drift. And as you drift, you find yourself ascending. Not quickly, not dramatically, just slowly. Effortlessly. Upward. The air grows thinner, but not cold. Light, but not harsh. You are rising toward Mount Olympus, a mountain in the sky. It is not the kind of mountain you climb with boots and ropes. It is not jagged or treacherous or wild. This mountain is smooth and silver gray. Its slopes are quiet. Its skies are soft. Clouds drift below you now. The world has fallen away. The cities, the seas, the past. Only Olympus remains. And it welcomes you. Not with trumpets, but with open silence. You step forward. The air is clear. No wind, no threat. The mountain hums with a soft sound. Not music, exactly, but like a memory of music, still lingering long after the song has ended. The courtyards of the gods before you lies a wide stone courtyard. There are columns, tall and white, but not towering. Nothing here is meant to impress. Everything here is at ease. Marble pathways stretch like rivers of quiet thought. Vines curl up the columns, blooming with golden flowers that glow, but never dazzle. A gentle fountain gurgles somewhere to your left. The sound is constant, like a heartbeat made of water. You are not alone. And yet, you are not watched. The gods are here, but they do not speak. They are resting, too. The garden of Hera. You step into a garden tucked behind the marble. Halls. It smells faintly of jasmine and warm rain. Peacocks drift among the trees, their feathers quiet, their movements slow. A soft blue haze floats in the air. Not smoke, not mist, just the breath of Olympus. Here, there is order, not control, just harmony. This is Hera's place. She is not seated on a throne now. She walks barefoot along the paths, plucking petals. With careful hands, she doesn't look at you, but she knows you're there. And that is enough. A sea without waves next. You find a long corridor open to the sky. At its edge, an impossible sight, a sea, not far below, but level with the mountain. It stretches outward, glimmering like glass. There is no wind, no tide, only stillness. This is Poseidon's sea, brought within to Olympus. You cannot see the god himself, but there is a trident leaning quietly against the wall. A shell lies at your feet. You pick it up. It hums with distant tides, and then quiets. The hearth of Hestia. You enter a small, warm chamber. Round, like a nest. In the center burns a steady, gentle fire. It does not flicker. It does not rise. It simply burns. This is Hestia's hearth. There is nothing here but cushions, blankets, and warmth. If you sit, you may fall asleep, and that would be all right. She is the goddess of home. And for a moment, this is home, the edge of the sky one. Last place, you walk through an arch made of woven gold. It leads to the very rim of Olympus. There, a balcony opens to the universe. Not just the sky, but stars, planets, endless night. They spin quietly beyond the clouds. You sit at the edge. The stone is cool beneath your hands. The wind is still. Somewhere far above, Apollo steers the sun to sleep. Artemis waits with her. Bow, the moon tucked under her arm. They do not rush. Everything here moves slowly. Even time, a place outside time, And so you rest. No footsteps, no questions, no names, no thrones. Just Olympus. The Olympus of thunder and war. Not the one of tailies and temples, but this one, the secret one, the mountain of dreams, the palace of sleep. The gods are not speaking now. They are breathing. You are not remembering. You are dreaming. And if you forget this place in the morning, that is all right. You can always return. Not by ship, not by chariot, not even by thought, not only by stillness, only by sleep. Sleep. Part 8. Surrendering to Sleep. A guided meditation on Olympus. Welcome once again. You have traveled far through stories and stars, through gods and dreams. Now it is time to close your eyes and let Olympus carry you fully into sleep. This is no story, no tale to follow, no names to remember, only breath, only stillness, only the mountain. Finding your place, imagine yourself standing at the base of Mount Olympus once more. The air is soft and warm. The sky above is painted in twilight hues of lavender and pale gold. You feel the earth beneath your feet, solid, steady, eternal. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it out gently. Step forward, slowly, each footstep soft, deliberate. The mountain welcomes you. You begin to walk without hurry. Each step carries you higher, lighter, the path through the olive grove ahead. An olive grove appears. Leaves whisper softly in a breeze you cannot hear. Olives hang like tiny lanterns, glowing faintly. You walk among the trees, reaching out to touch the smooth bark. Feel the texture beneath your fingertips. Feel the quiet pulse of life in the grove. The scent is subtle, earthy, ancient. A scent that speaks of peace. With every breath, you feel your body relaxing deeper. The worries of the day fade. Your mind grows calm. The garden of quiet flowers. You find a garden filled with blooms. Lily, jasmine, lavender, and others you cannot name. The colors are soft. Creams, pale blues, gentle pinks. A small fountain burbles nearby. Its water is clear and cool. Sit on a smooth stone beside the fountain. Feel the coolness seep into your skin. Let the sound of the water wash over you. A gentle lullaby. The lanterns of the gods, soft lanterns, hang from invisible branches above you. Their light is warm, not bright. They flicker slightly, like fireflies caught in a dream. Watch the lanterns sway. Let their glow fill your vision softly. With each flicker, feel your eyelids grow heavier. Each breath deeper. The night sky above Olympus. Look up. The stars are clear, scattered like diamonds on velvet. Notice the constellations. Orion, the hunter, Cassiopeia, the queen, the great bear turning slowly. The Milky Way stretches. Across the sky, a river of light. Feel the vastness of the universe around you, and the quiet smallness of your place within it. Know that you are safe. You are cradled in the mountain's embrace. The moon's gentle touch. The moon rises, pale and gentle. It bathes the grove and garden in silver light. Feel its cool glow. Brush your skin. Like a soft hand stroking your cheek. Let the moon's calm wash through you, easing every muscle, every thought. The breath of Olympus. Take a long, slow breath in. Hold it gently for a moment. Then exhale fully. With each breath, feel yourself becoming lighter. Like a leaf drifting on a quiet breeze. Inhale peace. Exhale tension. The invitation to rest. The mountain, the garden, the stars, they invite you to rest. You are free to lay down here, on soft moss or smooth stone. Feel the earth supporting you fully. No weight, no strain. Only comfort. Let your body melt into rest, drifting into dreams as you lie there. Imagine the myths you have heard, not as stories, but as gentle images. The olive branch swaying, the quiet laughter of the gods, the shimmering light of Apollo's lyre. Let these images float around you, like fireflies in the night. There is no need to hold on to them. Just watch them glow and fade. The final surrender now, with every breath. Let go. Let go of thought. Let go of worries. Let go of wakefulness. There is only sleep, only peace, only Olympus, carrying you gently into dreams. Asterisk. Whether you have slept deeply or remain wrapped in quiet rest, know that you are safe here on the gentle slopes of Olympus. There is no rush, no expectation, only gentle presence. The dawn begins. Imagine now the earliest light, a pale glow. Behind distant mountains, the horizon softens from indigo to rose. The sky breathes a new color. The stars begin to fade, retreating softly, one by one. You feel warmth growing, slow and steady, like the sun's first touch on your skin, returning to earth, though Olympus is vast and eternal. You begin to feel your body lying still where you rest, grounded by the earth beneath you. Feel the support beneath your back, the weight of your limbs sinking deep. Your breath is easy, natural, like waves gently folding onto a shore. A final whisper of mythi, even as the light grows brighter. The magic of the myths lingers still. In the air, a faint scent, olive, jasmine, cedar. In your mind, a quiet echo of gods who loved, fought, dreamed. You carry their stories with you, not as burdens, but as soft companions. The promise of a new day. With the dawn comes new beginnings. Perhaps you awaken refreshed, or perhaps you sink deeper into rest. Either is welcome. Either is right. The mountain remains behind you, a silent guardian. The gods whisper no demands, only invitations. To be present, to be gentle, to be at peace. A breath to carry forward. Take one last deep breath. Fill your lungs with calm. Hold it just a moment, and exhale slowly, fully. Know you can return here anytime. In dreams, in stories, in moments of stillness. Closing as this journey ends, carry the quiet with you. May the gods watch softly over your sleep. May the stars light your dreams, and may you awaken when you are ready, in your own time. Rested and whole. Asterisk. The quiet space within. Imagine a vast, dark sky inside yourself. Endless and calm. No noise, no light, just stillness. You are floating there, weightless, peaceful. No need to hold anything, no need to try. You simply are. The soft blanket of night. Feel a soft, dark blanket wrapping gently around you. It is cool but comforting. It soothes every muscle, every nerve. The blanket carries the whispered love of the gods, a gentle embrace from Athena's wisdom, Apollo's light, Artemis's quiet strength, Dionysus's wild peace. The surrender now. Take a deep breath. Inhale calm. Exhale tension. Repeat this slowly. With every breath, feel yourself sinking deeper. Let your body grow heavy. Let your mind grow quiet. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do. Only rest. The timeless sleep. Imagine yourself laying in a quiet grove on Olympus. Soft leaves beneath you, a gentle breeze. The world around you is still. You drift deeper and deeper, past time, past thought, past worry. You are home. The last whisper, and as you drift off completely, know that these stories, these gods, these myths are always here, waiting quietly, softly. To visit, to dream with, to bring peace. Sleep now. Rest fully. Good night. Good night.